When I first started learning English, I had no idea what a long and challenging journey it would be. Looking back now, I feel so grateful for every step I took, every mistake I made, and every obstacle I overcame. This is my story. I remember my first English class vividly. The room was filled with colorful posters of common phrases, a whiteboard covered in notes, and shelves lined with English textbooks. Sunlight streamed through the windows, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. Yet, despite the cheerful setting, I felt a mix of nervousness and excitement as I took my seat near the back of the room. I walked into the classroom, feeling both nervous and excited. The teacher greeted us with a big smile and started speaking in English right away. I could only understand a few words, and I began to panic. I thought, how was I ever going to learn this language? My classmates seemed so confident, answering questions and chatting with each other in English. Meanwhile, I was too shy to even raise my hand. During the class, the teacher asked us to introduce ourselves. When it was my turn, my heart pounded. I stood up, my face turning red, and managed to say, "My name is Mia." That was all I could get out. I sat down quickly, feeling embarrassed. But that moment was just the beginning. In the following days, we started learning grammar and vocabulary. Grammar felt like a big, confusing maze. For example, I often struggled with subject-verb agreement. I would say things like, "She go to school every day," instead of, "She goes to school every day." It took me a long time to understand why the verb had to change based on the subject. My teacher explained it using simple patterns like, I go, you go, he, she, it goes. With time and practice, these rules started to make more sense, but I had to repeat them many times before they stuck. I often got mixed up with tenses, saying things like, I go to the park yesterday, without realizing my mistake. My teacher was patient and corrected me repeatedly. She used simple examples to explain, like, if something happened yesterday, we use went. So it should be, I went to the park yesterday. Slowly, with her guidance, I began to understand. Vocabulary was another hurdle. There were so many new words to remember. I tried writing them down repeatedly, but I would forget them as soon as I had to use them. One day, I met a classmate named Lily. She was good at learning new words and shared her secret. She said, try to use the new words in a sentence or a story. It helps you remember them. So I started doing that. For example, when I learned the word beautiful, I wrote, the flower in the garden is very beautiful. Over time, this method made a big difference. As the weeks passed, we had our first English test. I was so worried. I studied hard, but I still felt unprepared. When I got the test paper, my hands were shaking. I read the questions and realized I didn't know some of the words. I tried my best, but I knew I wasn't doing well. After the test, I felt down. I thought I would never be good at English. But my teacher encouraged me. She said, don't be too hard on yourself. This is just the first test. You've already learned so much, and you'll keep improving. Her words gave me hope. Then came the speaking part. I was terrified of speaking English in front of others. In group discussions, I stayed quiet, hoping no one would notice me. One day, the teacher paired me with a boy named Tom. He was outgoing and friendly. He started the conversation by asking about my hobbies. I was nervous and only managed to say I like reading. But Tom didn't give up. He asked more questions, and slowly, I started to relax. That small conversation was a big step for me. It showed me that speaking wasn't as scary as I had imagined. After that, I decided to practice speaking more. I started by reading aloud from my textbooks and mimicking the way my teacher spoke. I also practiced tongue twisters to improve my pronunciation and fluency. For example, I repeated phrases like, she sells seashells by the seashore, until I could say them without stumbling. Additionally, I recorded myself speaking and listened to the recordings to identify areas where I could improve. I even practiced speaking in front of a mirror to observe my facial expressions and build confidence. Sometimes I would describe what I was doing at home, like cooking or cleaning, in English to make it feel more natural. These techniques slowly boosted my confidence and helped me become more comfortable speaking English. I started listening to English songs. At first, I focused only on the melody because I was too nervous to focus on the words. But gradually, I began paying attention to the lyrics. I looked up words I didn't understand and sang along. It was fun, and I noticed my pronunciation getting better. I also watched English movies with subtitles. At first, I relied on the subtitles, but later I turned them off to challenge myself. I learned many new phrases like, "What's up?" and how to use them naturally. Another thing that helped me was going to an English corner in the park. Many people there wanted to practice English. At first, I was too shy and just listened. But one day, I gathered my courage and joined a conversation. I met a girl named Anna, who was also learning English. We talked about our favorite places in our hometowns. That experience boosted my confidence. Back in the classroom, we had writing assignments. Writing in English was difficult at first. My sentences were short and full of mistakes. But I kept practicing. I read English books and tried to imitate how the authors wrote. I learned how to connect sentences using and, but, and, because to make my writing flow better. As I continued my journey, I still faced setbacks. Sometimes I forgot words in the middle of a conversation, or I mixed up grammar rules again. But I didn't let these moments stop me. I reminded myself of the progress I had made. I could now have simple conversations, understand most of what I read, and write more effectively. One day, our school announced an English speech contest. When I first heard about it, my heart started racing. I had always been afraid of speaking in front of others, but deep down, I wanted to give it a try. I spent hours thinking about whether I should join. Finally, I decided to face my fear. I chose a topic about overcoming challenges, something I knew a lot about from my English learning journey. Preparing the speech was not easy. I wrote and rewrote it several times, making sure each sentence sounded natural. I practiced in front of the mirror, imagining I was speaking to an audience. I even recorded myself and listened to the playback to improve my pronunciation. The night before the contest, I could hardly sleep. My nerves were all over the place, but I reminded myself why I wanted to do this, to prove to myself that I had come a long way. I walked into the contest room the next day with butterflies in my stomach, but determination in my heart. I wanted to participate, but I was scared. I thought about all the times I had faced my fears before, and I decided to give it a try. I prepared my speech carefully and practiced every day. When the day came, I was nervous, but also excited. I walked onto the stage and started speaking. I made a few mistakes, but I didn't let them bother me. I kept going, and when I finished, I heard applause. I felt so proud of myself. Now, looking back, I know that learning English was one of the best things I ever did. It has opened so many doors for me. I can communicate with people from different countries, read interesting books and articles, and watch movies without subtitles. One unforgettable opportunity came when I traveled to an international youth camp. I was able to make friends from all over the world, share stories, and even give a short speech about my culture. It felt amazing to connect with others using English and realize how much I had grown. It has opened so many doors for me. I can communicate with people from different countries, read interesting books and articles, and watch movies without subtitles. It wasn't easy, but every struggle was worth it. To all English beginners out there, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't let fear hold you back. Keep learning, keep practicing, and you will see progress. Just like me, you will one day be able to speak English confidently and enjoy all the benefits it brings. Every small step counts. You might feel like you're not getting anywhere at first, but if you keep going, you will reach your goal. So, pick up your English book, turn on that English song, and start your journey today. You won't regret it. Even now, I continue to learn and grow. I read more advanced books, listen to podcasts, and write longer and more complex stories. English is like a never-ending adventure, and I'm loving every minute of it. I hope you will too. So, dear friends, don't give up. Keep pushing forward. Your English skills will improve, and you will discover a whole new world waiting for you. The road might be bumpy, but the destination is beautiful. Let's all strive to become better at English and make our dreams come true. That's all for today. See you on the journey.